I've met Eduardo at a couple of events in Western Mass. Eduardo Samaniego is being deported back to Mexico after being incarcerated for over 100 days in a jail here in Massachusetts. Eduardo was an incredible advocate. I know he spoke at a lot of rallies in Western Massachusetts. He was here at the State House. So that is what we're facing with each and every day. And it's something that is also affecting the district I represent. Just 3 weeks ago, I had a constituent from the town of Maynard, a young man who arrived here as a student. He had to leave college in order to work to take care of his mother, who's very sick. And he was brought to a courthouse in Metro West. ICE agents were there immediately. He was detained and he was held in the Plymouth County Jail for 24 days. I was alerted by the community. We raised money for him. We got him a lawyer. He's been released, but we all know that right now he is under the cloud of being deported at any period of time. And so that's what we're fighting against, the idea, the really deeply troubling, despicable idea that court officials, whether intentionally or not, law enforcement, whether intentionally or not, are perhaps helping the Donald Trump mass deportation agenda by collaboration or interaction with the criminal justice system. And so the newly filed Safe Communities Act, which I'm very proud to file with Representative Lou Balzer and Representative Liz Miranda, is focused on making sure that law enforcement, making sure that court officials are not asking for individuals' legal status. You know, if I get pulled over by the police or if I'm in a courthouse, I know, because of my race, because of my ethnicity, I am not going to be asked by immigration status. Far too many people of color are being asked about their immigration status. That is unacceptable in Massachusetts, unacceptable in the United States of America. So it has that provision. It also prohibits sheriffs from deputizing their employees to act as immigration agents. And how chilling is that our county sheriffs, as some of them are doing in the southeastern Massachusetts, are actually deputizing their employees to act as immigration agents. Law enforcement should not be engaged in enforcing immigration law. That is one of the key reasons why the Mass police chiefs endorsed a version of the Safe Communities Act last session, because they recognize that they want to focus on protecting the public safety and not enforcing immigration law. It's something that makes all of us less safe. And the last piece is to let someone who is undocumented, let them know that him or her, he or she, can hire a lawyer regarding their immigration case. We know, and I've known this for about a handful of my constituents that I've helped with, that if someone has a lawyer, they are much more likely to have their civil rights be protected. They're much more likely to be kept here. And when I think about my constituents who have been sent back to the country they originally grew up in, but who arrived here 20 or 30 years ago, raised a family, attending church, giving back to their community, creating jobs, it is just so deeply troubling that some of my constituents have been sent back home, tearing apart their families, hurting the community that they grew up in and gave back to. So that's what we're here for. And it's obviously, after the briefing, your responsibility, and I ask you this, to go out and talk to your legislators. Talk about it from a personal point of view, personal story. A friend or family member or someone you know in the community. Talk about your values, talk about your principles, and how this is deeply contrary to Massachusetts values. And I want to emphasize that the support for this bill continues to grow. I think you know that we did pass this bill in the Senate last session during the budget. So one of the things I want to emphasize, and sometimes some of my colleagues will raise, is somehow this is an issue that could hurt people electorally. And actually, I would say the exact opposite. Not a single pro-Safe Communities Act legislator last session was defeated. And anyone who is legislators who are actively anti-Safe Communities Act in a number of races were defeated by challengers. And so the public supports this issue. The public overwhelmingly supports fixing our immigration system. They support the Safe Communities Act. Thank you so much for being here. Get out and talk to your legislators.